someone else what makes me grin. The situations where I just can't win. I say you.
My childhood influences, musical influences, were all around me because my father was a straight sort of ballad singer, if you like. In fact, I remember my dad used to try and sing his way out of trouble if he came back from the pub with a few too many. He'd sing to me mum who couldn't be persuaded, you know.
It brightens up a cloudy day. You are the laughter that chases my blues away.
Then my brothers took up the guitars which they'd found in America and the Far East and came back armed with people like Hank Williams and Lefty Frizzell and the old Jimmy Rogers. And then, of course, I grew up through the Elvis Presley and the Beatles and all the rest of it.
What's the secret of my success? The source of all my happiness? Say you. Say you. You are the sunshine that brightens up a cloudy day. You are the laughter that chases my blues away.
My father said I used to sing myself to sleep when I was about 3 years of age. And I remember my first musical recollection was sitting on his knee at a wedding and singing, you take the table and I'll take the chairs, you know. So I was surrounded by it all of my life, and I think we had the first radiogram. We were quite posh in those days, you know. In our Docklands Road, we had the first radiogram, and I think the first record we ever got was Nat King Cole singing Mona Lisa. So I had all these various sort of influences upon me right throughout my childhood, and hopefully they're still there within me, and whatever comes out at the end, I think, is a sort of your own sort of musical fingerprints, but behind it all is all these different influences from my father's ballad singing and people like Bing and Stephen Foster's songs and things like that, through the sort of country music, through the folk music, through the Elvis Presley, through the Beatles, who gave people like me the belief that we could write songs, you know.
Who builds the bridges for me to cross? Who gives me words when I'm at a loss? You say you. Say you. Say you. I say you. Over in the corner there was where we kept the monkey. It was brought over from West Africa, Jacko. And he ended his days there, actually. At bonfire night, he was out there in the cold and he died. Next to the monkey's shed was the bin shed, where we kept the bin. There's a nice little stretch there running to the back gate, and along that stretch you buried the monkey, the duck, dogs and cats, or numerous animals. Right here was the chicken shed, where my brother kept all his chickens, his favourite being Aggie, and which was eaten by the man down there, old Mr. Pearson, when he was away at sea. Jack didn't find out till much later. I went to a secondary school because I asked my mum, because I loved football so much. I didn't want to go to a grammar school, although I felt I was educationally up to it. I didn't want to go to the grammar school because they played rugby, and I didn't like rugby. I wasn't tough enough for rugby, you know. So I asked my mum to put down on the list of choices the one secondary school where all my mates were going. And of course, I went to this secondary school for 2 years, I think. And then a lovely gentleman called Mr. Evans saw the academic potential in me and then advised me to go to the grammar school. So I was transferred.